What's happening, guys? Cooper Carter here for G66, and on this week's Fractal Friday, I'm going to show you guys one of my favorite lead delay tips that might just get your live leads sitting in that Goldilocks zone where you stand out, but you also sit well in the mix. One of the holy grails of live guitar lead tone is nailing the time-based effects, the delays and the reverbs, getting the perfect mix, the perfect level, the perfect time, the perfect number of repeats on the delays, the amount of decay on the reverb. A lot of different variables can go into giving your sound that lift and the expansive space that you want for a lead without verging too far into cheesy territory where there's just too much of it. So I'm going to show you a method that I've implemented on a lot of pro touring sounds that may get you right where you want to be more quickly and more easily. Now, of course, as always, this is a very quick video, but if you want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal unit, whether that's the Aspect 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. So, of course, we can always use a good old delay and a good old reverb to get a great lead tone. At default values here for this factory preset that I'm basing this preset demo off of, we've got a stereo tape at a dotted eighth note for the tempo of 120, and we've got a nice medium hall reverb, and this is a great lead tone right off the bat. A nice ambience there, not too much, but there's still enough to get a nice lead vibe. But I have found that sometimes it's easier to get both the delay and the reverb together in a sense in one effect by turning to one of these more complex delays available in the Fractal units. Now, of course, delay is delay, but reverb really is just a bunch of really short delays all coming together. And so we can combine these two blocks by using either a plex delay or a multi-tap. And with just a couple of customized settings on these blocks, I have found that I can get an instant, really nice live lead tone, and I've even used this on records as well. So let's check out the plex delay first. The plex delay, of course, known for having a great effect for ambient sounds. So big expansive delay, and if we leave this at its default values here and say maybe a mix of 25, we're going to get a huge ambient lead, which can be a really cool sound. But that is a much more pronounced effect, much more expansive than what I'm going for here, which is to just lift kind of a more standard lead up. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put this mix around 17%, and I'm going to increase the number of delays from 4 to 8, so we get even more repeats that are compounding and feeding into each other. And so you see here that we have 8 different times that are adjustable by tapping the tempo. So I'm going to set this to 120, and you see that each of our delays are adjusted automatically. I'm going to go back to this basic page, and I'm going to take this decay time, and this is really the key thing here for this little trick, down to about a second and a half. The first time I ever dialed in this plex delay for a lead on one of my live presets years and years ago, I ended up at 1.41, so that's kind of the special number for me now. But as always, use your ears and not your eyes. And now with the 8 different delays and a decay time of 1.4 seconds and a mix of 17, we get this. Some nice ambience, some nice repeats, but it's not too washy. And now, of course, because again, these delays are tempo matched to the tap tempo on the unit, you can tap a quicker tempo, and I've maximized it here all the way up to the top at 250 beats per minute so that our longest delay here is barely even half a second. And now we get a much tighter delay that you could really leave on for all sorts of different kinds of playing just to add a little bit of lift to your tone. I want the effect a bit more pronounced though, so I'm going to put this back to 120, and now we can hear a couple more discrete delays. and they're not all washing out as much. The other thing that you can do is take this diffusion down to around 50%, so the delays are a little more pronounced if that's what you're going for. Now, of course, you can adjust all of these parameters to taste. If it's a little dry for you, you can take this decay time back up a bit, maybe to around 2.5 seconds. But the idea here, again, is to create a delay that's not as much an effect, but allows your tone to sit well in a mix. For a lead, you want some of that ambience to lift your sound, to open it up, to make the audience's ears feel like they've just had blankets lifted off of them because the whole room has gotten wider. But you really want them to almost feel it as opposed to hear it. And this can be a really great way to do that. So let's check out the multi-delay next. I'm gonna go ahead and turn that on and set it to one of my favorite types, which is the Aurora delay, which you have probably seen me use before. And at its default settings, again, this is a very pronounced effect. So I'll just do a little chunk so you can hear the repeats. Now, of course, if you want a big, wide lead, these default settings could be really cool. But for the effect that we're going for, let's make a couple changes. Again, I'm going to take this mix down to around 17%. And then all I'm going to do here is you see that each of these 4 delays is tempo matched. So we've got a dotted eighth note, a quarter note, a dotted eighth note, and a quarter note, and these are panned right, and these are panned left. All I'm gonna do is jack this tempo all the way up to, let's say, 250 beats per minute. So these delays quicken up a good bit, and now we have a great lift to our lead. So this almost sounds like you've turned on a bit of hall reverb with a little bit of a slap echo. And so again, you're kind of combining the delay and the reverb here. And that's the kind of thing that you could even leave on just for a rhythm tone to add a little bit of ambience. If you take the mix down, let's say, 8 or 9%. An effect, again, that is felt more than heard until, of course, the end of notes, where you do sometimes want that dramatic repeat at the end of a riff or the end of a song. I hope you guys see that there's nothing complicated going on here. We can very easily just add a nice lift to our tone by turning on one of these 2 delays. And because there are no rules in Fractal Land, we could even try it with both delays on. So let's take this tempo down to, let's say, 175.
So give one of these more complex delays a shot next time you're dialing in even a simple lead. Again, it doesn't have to be a big expansive lead for this technique to really work. It may just get you right where you want to be more quickly than the balancing act of dialing in a separate delay and a reverb. As always, if you guys found this video useful, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to G66's channel, and leave me a comment in the comment section below letting me know what you'd like to see in a future Fractal Friday. And as always, if you guys want to get the absolute most out of your Fractal unit, whether that's the Axe-Fx 3, the FM9, or the FM3, make sure to visit classes.coopercarter.com for my complete Fractal Audio Masterclass series. For all things Fractal Audio, keep it right here on G66, and I will see you guys next week on Fractal Friday.